iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Brian Stokes Mitchell, welcome back to iHeartRadio Broadway.
Thank you, SJ. It's great being with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're here first and foremost to talk about your upcoming 54 Below Diamond Series performance, which is going to be June 20th to the 25th. But I had the honor a couple weeks ago to go to what was then called the Actors Fund Gala. And you made this huge announcement as the chair of the Actors Fund that it's now the Entertainment Community Fund. So I want to ask, how did you all come to make that decision to rebrand the organization?
Thank you for that question. That was, and thank you for being at the gala. By the way, it was
amazing.
My favorite gala that we've done. It was a long time coming. Actually, it was first proposed about 15 years ago when I was still chairman of the board. It was one of the first things that I thought, because the good news and the bad news, the Actors Fund has this incredible cachet. It has got an incredible history. People love the organization. It's been wonderful. And there's a lot of equity in the name. The bad news is every time you talk about the Actors Fund, you have to say it's not just for actors, because it always, for 140 years, has served everyone in the entertainment community, in the entertainment performing arts. Actors, singers, dancers, crew members, musicians, people, stage company management, anybody that's been attached to that. So there's been this kind of weird thing that a lot of people, even in our industry, still think we're only for actors. And we said we can't do that anymore. And we were going to change the name before COVID started. And then when COVID happened, here's the thing, yin and yang. I'm totally into that. You get good and you get bad, and there's bad with the good and there's good with the bad. Now, there was mostly bad with COVID. But one of the great things for the Actors Fund that happened with COVID is people came out of the woodwork to help. We got, Netflix and TikTok and the unions really stepped up their giving to us, and individuals as well. People like Seth Rudetsky and James Wesley were doing Stars in the House, and people were calling in with $5 and $10 from all over the world. And it really became very obvious to us that now was the time to say, to change our name. And I've been saying it's as an act of gratitude for all of the people that came forward, and also clarifies really who we serve and who we have always served as well. And it's been overwhelmingly well received, and we're really, really happy about it. And thank you so much. And if anybody wants to know more, they can look up Entertainment Community Fund or Actors Fund still. That will still take you to the new site and the new name. And some things will retain our Actors Fund name, like our Actors Fund home in Englewood, New Jersey. And we have a housing development corporation that develops affordable housing as well. But the organization as a whole will be the Entertainment Community Fund.
And for those that are just learning about the Entertainment Community Fund or the Actors Fund, how would you describe the organization in a nutshell to someone who's just learning about it for the first time?
It's a human services organization. Our new tagline is the Entertainment Community Fund, supporting a life in the arts. And what we do is we have a number of dozens of different programs to help people from the time they first start working in the entertainment industry. We have something called Looking Ahead, which helps kids and their families negotiate this very tricky thing called show business, all the way to the end, when people need to live at our Actors Fund home in Englewood, New Jersey, or they need memory care, or they need health care, or they need rehabilitation out there. And everything in between, for insurance to help people get insurance, to help people with job retraining, which we needed a lot of. Our industry was hit so hard during COVID. Insurance is one of those great examples, because most people don't. Well, first thing, a lot of people don't realize, they think, people in the entertainment industry are these rich people, they're in the entertainment industry. Everybody lives in big mansions. No, that's very few people that Most of the people in our industry are gig workers going from job to job to job to job. If anybody ever sits and watches the credits at the end of a movie, those are the people the Entertainment Community Fund serves. And there are thousands of people. And most of those people, we don't know their names. And they're hoping that they're going to get another job after that one they just did on that film. And that's going to go, because people don't have a lot of money set aside. So our job is to kind of help people through these difficult times. We have something called the Emergency Assistance Fund, by the way, that was really called upon during the pandemic, because uh, in a usual year, we give out about $2 million in emergency financial assistance. This is to help pay your rent, to help pay your utility bill, to help pay for your prescription. It's for the most essential things. We give out about $1.5 million. No, that's not right. Yeah, it's a million. Yes, $1.5 million to about $2 million to about 1,500 people. $2 million to 1,500 people. Since the COVID started, we've given out about $24 million to more than 17,000 people. And these are people that need that help like that because they have lost their jobs. And many people got retrained. We guided them through new ways to get insurance. And there are just a number of programs. But if people go on the site, either if you need help from the Entertainment Community Fund, or if you would like to donate to the Entertainment Community Fund, you are both welcome. So please, that would be the best thing to do. And there's all kinds of programs.
And we'll link below for how you can find out more information. But my last question to you about the Entertainment Community Fund is, how has being a part of the organization impacted you?
Oh, it's like, well, first thing, okay, here's a funny story about it. When I was asked to join, Joe Benincasa, the president of the fund, I had been on the board, I think, for 3 years already. And Joe Benincasa said, we need to, the person who was the chairman at that time had taken ill and needed to step off. And they said, you're kind of unanimously been voted by the board to be the next chairman. And I said, Joe, I can't possibly do that. How long is this going to be? He said, it's a 3-year term. I said, 3 years. I can't possibly do 3 years. You know, I'm doing a show now. I've got a million things going on. I have a kid that was born. I said, I want to make sure that I'm useful to you. I'll tell you what, Joe, let's do this. I'll visit it for 1 year. And at the end of 1 year, I'm saying yes to it. I don't want to just be a figurehead or somebody that just is there by name. I want to be useful to you. So at the end of a year, let's have a sit down and you tell me if I'm helping you and doing what you need. And I'll tell you if this is working for me as well. And here I am 18 years later as chairman of the board of the Actors Fund. And the hook is another, you know, from the very beginning. And the reason I stayed is the main reason is because it's an incredible organization. It's rated 4 stars on Charity Navigator, which is the premier charity rating system. Our home in Englewood, New Jersey is rated got the top rating from US News and World Report that rates all of those, also from the state of New Jersey. It's an incredible group of people that run it. Joe Benincasa, our president and CEO, is an unusual human being that is just one of the kindest people that I've ever met, and brilliant. And the same is true for all of the people that he chooses around him. Our board is made up of the same people. But the other thing is, I actually get to see the work that the Actors Fund does, because I go out to the home as the chairman. I go out and I see and I talk to people. A lot of times companies, shows do the 9th performance, the Actors Fund performance, where everybody volunteers, the actors, the musicians, stage and company management, volunteer, do the show for free for the Actors Fund. The Music Man has one coming up, is the next one coming up. I think it's in July. And you can find that on the site as well, that information. And pretty much every time that I've gone to one of these, we go backstage before to thank the cast and everybody and give a little talk about the fund and if you need us, and here's who we are. And then I leave the stage door and I go out to the front to watch the show. Pretty much every single time after I've made this speech, right before I get to the stage door, somebody taps me on the shoulder, says, "Excuse me, can I talk to you just a second?" And I say, "Sure, absolutely." And they stop me and they pull me off to a corner. And they say, "I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing with the fund because," and they proceed to tell me some incredible story about how the fund is helping them, their family members, somebody out in the house, some terrible thing that happened to them. There was a show, one of the Actors Fund performances was being given. A woman stopped me backstage. She said, "I want to thank you because I had a problem with my hand and it was not working. And because of the Actors Fund, I was able to get surgery on my hand and get my hand fixed." And she was the bass player on the show, and that we were seeing that very night. And she knew she wouldn't be able to continue her career without that. So I keep hearing those stories, and those are the stories that make my heart full. It just make it huge. And and also knowing the board, knowing the staff that we have there. It's an unusual organization. When I was writing my speech for the gala, one of the things that kept coming into my head was, I can't believe I'm working with all these great, good people. A lot of boards, people I'm sure that are listening to this and watching this serve on boards of other organizations. And so many of them are just contentious, and you just hate going to the meetings, and they're awful and they're terrible and you don't like people. Our board meetings are like, you just leave them kind of floating, because everybody's there for the same reason. We're all there for a common cause, to help people. And it just makes you feel good to be able to do that. And we get to hear of some of the things that are going on, because also being a board member can be very abstract. You're talking about budgets and you're talking about all kinds of things, that you don't really have an attachment to. But we also get to hear a human services report about how many people were helped and who was helped and how they were helped. And it's just, that's what's kept me there for so long. It just feels great to be there.
Well, I implore everyone to find out more information about the Entertainment Community Fund. The work that you all do is absolutely amazing, and we couldn't be a community without organizations like the Entertainment Community Fund. And I do want to talk about your upcoming series at Studio 54 Below,
Yes.
June 20th to the 25th. It's part of the Diamond series for 54 Below. What is it about 54 Below that is just a perfect space for performances?
I love this club. It may be my favorite club in New York to play. I've played it a number of times. First thing, it was kind of designed and put together by people from the theatrical industry. So it's beautiful to sit there and look at the lighting, the way the stage is laid out. It sounds amazing because it was put together by people from, Broadway that know sound as well. It sounds good. And also the food is really good there. Every time that I've gone there, I just love watching my friends perform there, because not only will my ears be happy, I know my stomach's going to be happy too, and my mouth. It's just a great place. There's so much creativity there. The people that run it, it's really difficult to run a club like that and to make money at it. And they're doing it largely as an act of love, because it is so hard. I can't believe they've stayed in the business as long as they have, and especially through COVID, and they're still there.
Absolutely.
I mean, it says a lot for the owners of the club and the people that run it. And I just love it. I love the intimacy of it, because I play a lot of, I'm playing the Hollywood Bowl this summer. That's, I think, 12,000 people or something outrageous like that. I played 25,000 seat auditoriums as well. I played these huge venues. 54 Below is, I don't know, it's maybe 200 people, I think. So it's very intimate. And I always like to perform as if I'm giving a show in my living room. 54 Below, I am giving a show in my living room. It does feel that intimate, and people are sitting right there, and it's much more personal. I just love that kind. I love all of it, actually. I love having the opportunity to do all of them, but it allows me to sing in a different way. It allows me to tell stories in a different way. It allows me to be loose in a different kind of way as well, because it doesn't have to be so structured. I can kind of go off on tangents and do other things, and if I want. And but my main thing, and this is one of the things, and this started, get me back here, because I'm going to tell you a little story.
Okay.
This is about singing out my window during COVID, when I was singing The Impossible Dream out my window. So get me back, because I know I'm going to forget where I was going with it, and say 54.
Totally.
So that started because I actually had COVID that first time. This was before anybody really knew what COVID was. This was before hospitals knew what to do with you. They were sneaking people on the side entrance. This was before vaccines and anything. This is, when still lots of people were dying from it and people were on ventilators. I mean, it was really, really terrible. And I had a very, very bad case of it. It didn't land me in the hospital, but just short of it. So when I was laying in bed recovering, I heard all this noise coming from my front window, and it was my wife and son. They were clapping and cheering. I said, "What's going on?" They said, "This is a spontaneous thing that, New York has started to thank their essential workers. Everybody stops and drops what they're doing at 7:00. I said, "Oh, that's great. I can't wait to do that." So finally, I felt well enough, and we all went to separate windows, because my apartment overlooks Broadway, and I was able to clap for everybody. Now, during this time, I could feel this first COVID, this different. I just had the second one, by the way, because the first one was so much fun.
Yeah.
And but a totally different disease, by the way, totally different disease. It felt nothing like the first one. But the first one I could feel moving around my body and like trying out different places. Oh, can I get in here? Oh no, let's try his kidneys. Oh no, let's try his lungs. And I went to my lungs last, but I think I had enough antibodies built up, so it didn't get too deep into my lungs. So I would come into this very room, which is my recording studio, and it's where I produce all my albums and record my vocals. And I would sing and vocalize. And so one day during the 7 o'clock, celebration, after the applause died down for everybody, I just spontaneously started singing "The Impossible Dream" out my window, and everybody on the street stopped and they, looked up at me, and then I finished the song, and then they clapped. Now, I was just doing it as a one-off, as a thanks to my entertainment community fund, Dr. Jason Kint, who got me through this on the phone when I had 105-degree fever, and all of the other people that were, doing amazing work. And so I was just doing this one time, and the next day comes, and I noticed there were more people on the street than usual. And I finished clapping for all the essential workers, and I reached up to close the door, and somebody yells up from the street, "Sing the song!" So that started me, and I sang it every night for 2.5 months after that.
Were you expecting the media coverage that came with that?
I was not. Now here's the ironic thing is that's the first time I ever went viral, ironically, and was doing that. No, I did not expect that at all, because a neighbor across the street had taped it, and they were the first one to put it on. And then every news organization came and interviewed me. They wanted to talk to me, and I was on international news. I had people calling me from Australia and Japan. "I just saw you on the news." And actually, it was inspired by when I saw people in Italy. I don't know if you remember this, that when they were under quarantine, and people in Italy just started opening their windows and just started serenading their neighbors. And then sometimes they would do duets together. And that's what made me think, nobody's doing that here. I'm going to do that here. That was my inspiration for that. And so I wasn't expecting it to go that long. But here's now where it's tying into the other story. So I was going to stop singing, actually, because I was starting to feel like after about a week, I mean, literally, it got to be hundreds and hundreds, maybe 1,000 or more people that were on the street. I never stopped to count first, but and I was thinking, this doesn't feel right, because I'm singing as an act of gratitude. I'm not singing for people to applaud for me, but I feel like now people are coming to hear me sing, and I thought, no, this doesn't feel right. I need to stop this, just to kind of remind everybody that we're here to thank everybody else. So the night I was going to do that, I was going into a store near me, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and he said, "You're Brian Stokes Mitchell?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You don't know me. I'm your neighbor. I live across the street from you." And he started getting emotional. And I said, "Oh, are you all right?" He said, "Yes, I just wanted to tell you that I come out every night. We come out to clap for the essential workers, but I also come out to hear you sing. I come out, my wife and my 2 sons, we come out every night. It's the one time in my day I feel joy." And I went, oh, because you forget as a performer, singing comes relatively easy to me. Now I've been doing it for 60 years or 50 years, or how many years I've been doing it, I don't know. And you forget how the connection that art makes for people. And I don't forget, because I talk about it all the time, about the way art is able to kind of reconnect us in all kinds of different ways. And it's really art has I think, got us through this pandemic more than anything.
Absolutely. Because I agree with you 100%. It's between you, when you were singing outside the window and other things that were going on, it was one of those things that we could all collectively just breathe a sigh of relief and have that moment to just have, you already said it, to have that joy. Even if it was 1 minute or 5 minutes, we all had that joy to look forward to every single day.
Yeah. And it was also the other thing too that was different, because a lot of people, I know it was me, I was like using art, binge watching television shows, listening to my favorite songs. That's all the work of artists that do that. People forget. They think, no, that's entertainment. No, that's artists. Those kids that were studying art in, school, they're now drawing cartoons, and they're doing the CGI for the Marvel movie that you just fell in love with. And they're doing the set designs and the costume designs. And the people that were in band, those are the people that are John Batiste. And those are the people that, are these great artists, and the Beyoncés, and the people that you're listening to, and the Kendrick Lamars, in your headphones, and all of the people people that are mixing those and arranging them, and in the background, and all the crew members that are building the sets, and all of those people that are the mic boom operators that we don't even see. That's what artists do. That's what artists do. And the final thing, and the actors and the performers generally get the credit for it, but it is a group happening. It's a collective, it's a collaboration that's happening of all of these people, because just any one of them can't make it work. Beyonce, you wouldn't know who Beyonce was without camera people, and without the mixers and the mastering engineers, and without choreographers that help, all these other people that are in the background, and her dancers, and the people that put on the show, and the lighting designers. It's all of these people that are working together for a common cause, a common good. That's how a Broadway show gets put on. That's what's also I think is so inspiring about it. And that's what also got us, I think, collectively and collaboratively through this terrible time, and kept us all from going totally, absolutely bonkers. It was artists. It was listening to art. It was our collection, whatever that is to you, whether it's classical music, rap music, Broadway tunes that you're listening to, whether you're watching, the Housewives of Atlanta, or whether you're watching, the Queen's Gambit, or, no matter what, it's all the same thing, and it's all put on by artists in some level, in some way. And that, I think, was a very powerful lesson for me, because that was a lesson that I forgot when that neighbor reminded me, oh, that's right, that's what I'm able to do. So getting back to 54 Below, and this I've done for a while, but particularly now, since COVID, my job, my reason for being on this planet is to connect people to their joy space again, is to make people feel happy, and hopefully open their hearts, and make them feel more empathetic, and make them feel more connected, and make them be less fearful of life, of other people, of people that are different from them, or different political parties, or different colors, or from different countries, or from different, they wear different personal costumes, wardrobes. We're all one here. We're all together. We're all in this together, guys. And one of the things that connects us all is art, music, dance, singing. That brings people of all kinds together. And so I very consciously think, when I'm doing a show like this, I want people, I call it like a good church, because I think for most performers, the theater it's like a church. It's a sacred space. And for me, I always feel, and I was a church organist for a long time too, I always feel that when you leave a church, you should feel better than you did when you walked in. And I definitely feel that way about the theater. When you leave, or a show like what I'm doing, I want people to feel a whole lot better when they leave than they did when they came into the theater. And I want them to be kind of reconnected to this other place, and feel like, yeah, I can do this. I was just at a Jacques d'Amboise, his celebration of life, the other day, that was a principal dancer for ABT, and just a brilliant guy, and just full of joy, and full of mischief, and just one of my favorite people on the planet ever. And that whole evening was celebrating his life, which was about that. And everybody, we were all just elevated, levitated as we left that room, just seeing what this human being did. He has NDI, that he started the dance for kids in school, and then all of the incredible performers and dancers that were on the stage that came to honor him as well. I mean, it's just, art has a way of transforming us in the most remarkable ways. And that's what I want to do for my audiences and my friends that come in, and that's what my audiences are for me when they come to see me perform.
So what can we expect from the 54 Below series? Can you give us any little insider tips on what you may be performing?
No, because I don't know yet. What I'm that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm putting together, because I want to give people things that they want to hear. I know what kinds of songs that they're expecting from me, but I sing all kinds of things. I don't just do Broadway. I do jazz, I do Brazilian tunes, I do standards, I do kind of whatever strikes my fancy. So my job is to design a show that takes you on this journey, and lets you down gently on the other side, and lets you leave the theater feeling, this wonderful exhalation and, just happiness. And so I don't know, I'm thinking I may do like a request thing, and just have people say, what do you want to hear me sing? And
can I put a request in right now?
Yes, you may. Yes, what?
I've told you this before. One of my favorite songs that you perform is New Words by Maura Yeston. It's one of
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite songs you do, and it makes me weep every time you sing it. So that is my personal
Oh,
request.
thank you. Okay, good. All right. That sounds good. Yeah. And so many people have these personal requests like that. So I think throughout the show, what I'm thinking I might do is say, okay, request time, what do you want to hear? And let people, throughout some title of a song or, whatever. And I'll sing something because that also makes the show different. It's different for me. It's different for the
Yeah.
musicians and it's different for the audience every time, but also gives them the familiar things that they want to hear as well. And then I have, I'm working on an Ellington show for the Boston Pops. It's coming up in about a week as well. And so I've been working on a song called Lush Life, which is a Billy Strayhorn tune, which is a song that I've always wanted to sing. So, and Ted Firth, my pianist, is the brilliant Ted Firth, is going to be playing as well. So I think I might have to do Lush Life at this particular one as well, just because it's such a beautiful, evocative, incredible song. So I don't know, I mean, my first idea was just to make it an all request tune and just
Okay.
let people shout out tunes and then I'll sing them. So I don't know. It may be some hybrid. It's probably going to be some hybrid kind of show like that. I'll do some of the things that I want to start it with and then, go off on tangents as well. But I don't know. And that's what's fun also about 54 Below is you have the ability to do that, where like with Boston Pops, it's very set because the orchestra has the music and you're rehearsing it. So you're going to do it this one way. But that's what's the joy of doing something like 54 Below is you have this freedom where you can do things like that.
Right. Well, the show is June 20th to the 25th at 54 Below, part of the Diamond series. You can go to 54below.com to find out more information, to buy tickets. We will also link below. Stokes, thank you so much for joining me on iHeartRadio Broadway today. You are always such a joy to talk to. So thank you so much.
Thanks, SJ, and just good health and happiness and joy to everybody out there as well, and to you.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.